All right, thanks for joining me for lesson 47. This is a mostly workspace lesson. We're really going to focus on getting done with essay number 3 this week with the final draft due next Friday on the 26th. Our writing lesson today is going to be a mastery assignment review. We're going to look at the assignments that will be due by the 26th. Our literature lesson today is going to be looking at the progress assignments that have been due this semester so far that are also be due by the 26th. And for our informational lesson today, we're just going to use the rest of the remaining period to work on anything that anyone needs assistance with, be that outlines, mastery assignments, that essay number 3, or any progress assignments that you want help with. Our old assignments and our upcoming assignments are both pretty full at this point. This is about as full as they're going to get before we go to spring break. I don't foresee any new assignments being added here between now and then. So really we'll be doing in-class work that will be ungraded between now and the 26th, or we'll be working on essays if you are stuck on your essay or if you need help with that essay. So this is kind of the shape of the class as we're going into spring break. Our learning targets for today. For writing, again, we're going to review the mastery assignments for this grading period. And the grading period is now going to be ending on the 26th of March. That got moved up. Originally, it was going to be ending right after spring break, but the district has decided that it makes more sense for us to start a new grading period as we return to school. I think that's smart. So we will not end the grading period after we return. The grading period will end before we go to spring break. So everything is now due on the 26th. That doesn't actually push anything up for us, but it's worth noting that you should check your other classes as well. So this means we can complete your essay number 3 by following the steps provided, logging in to seek assistance, and viewing the explanation videos for each step in the living syllabus. For literature, we're going to review the progress assignments for this grading period, which means you can complete the voice and choice assignments as well as the 3 required readings and the humanizing language assignment. And then for the informational part of this lesson, I'm just going to have some workspace for you. If you want to get some assistance on your outline or any progress assignments, log in and we will knock out as much as we can while you're in the room. Our week structure: a Monday, Tuesday recorded lesson, and a Thursday, Friday recorded lesson. I'll be out on Monday this week. My wife got the vaccine, and she is going to be under the weather, so I'm going to be out Monday. But if you are in that Monday class, please, 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 if you're watching this, consider logging in during my office hours on Wednesday between 10 and 10:45 a.m. for recovery, or between 12 and 2:30 on Wednesday afternoon for my office hour, and I will help you with anything that you need help with. All right, voice and choice number 5 is the last voice and choice that will be due before spring break. The voice prompt is, what relationships in your life matter to you and why? So what relationships matter to you and why do those relationships matter? And the paths are new questions are for the artist, how does an artist's context inform their work? For the poet, how does a poet's life change their writing? For the innovator, for business, how does your past aid or challenge you in creating a business? For aviation, what leads people to want to be a pilot? Or for the trades, how can having a family trade impact you? For journalism, why do you think people want to go into journalism? For law, how do people in the legal system view objective truth? For the fittest, for medical, what life experiences make you interested in nursing? Or for sports, how realistic are pro-level football or basketball careers for most students? When is it viable? For the mentor, the education question is, why do people want to be teachers? Or for psychology, how do psychiatrists get interested in their careers as kids? For the gamer, what makes someone want to go into game design? For the musician, how do musicians decide that music will be their career and not just a hobby? And for Old Glory, why do people decide to go into the military? And for the author, how do authors know when that is their career, not just a hobby? And for film, why do people get into acting? So a lot of questions about getting into the heads of careers and getting it kind of think about why people choose what they want to do as we go into our spring break after next week. All right, our writing lesson, we're just going to really quickly review the mastery assignments that will be due at the end of this grading period on the 26th, next Friday. So there are 4 mastery assignments in the gradebook. Graded essay number 3, which is worth 50 points. Graded essay number 3, rough draft, which is worth 50 points. Graded essay number 3, peer review, which is worth 50 points. And graded essay number 3, final draft, which is worth 100 points and is due on the 26th. So the outline was due on February the 19th. It's the longest part of this assignment is to complete that outline, and it is also the most specific and directed part of this assignment. I also have the most recorded explanations for that part of this assignment. So there's a lot of directions there. It's really detailed. It's definitely something that if you're stuck on, I can help you get through it, probably in under 50 to 60 minutes. It'd probably take us about 20 to 30 minutes together to get through it. But on your own, it shouldn't take you around an hour to complete that assignment. The graded essay rough draft is a little bit less time because you're mostly taking your outline into a rough draft format. The peer review is only 15 minutes, and that's a generous estimate. It should take you between 5 and 10 minutes if you're going quickly. That's just a Google form. And then for the final draft, I give you a lot about half an hour to take your rough draft and apply any suggestions that I give you on the rough draft to make that ready to go for a final draft. So all in all, somewhere between an hour and a half and 2 hours of work, somewhere between that space of for completing the entirety of your mastery assignments for this part of the gradebook. Again, graded essay number 3 peer review is just a Google form. You can use me for feedback or a friend, a family member, or another teacher. For essay number 3 final draft, you're going to score higher on that if you use my feedback on your rough draft or if you did a rough draft and use the outline. The final draft, you'll almost always score higher if you did some pre-planning. Okay, that's the updated list of what's coming up this week. On Friday the 19th, your humanizing language number 1 assignment will be due, and your peer review Google form is going to be due as well. For our literature learning target today, let's review the progress assignments that we've had this grading period. And this means you're going to be able to complete these assignments as well as basically you're going to be able to go through and complete all the progress assignments and not have to worry about that part of the gradebook. It is a 50-50 gradebook, so half of your grade is progress assignments and half your grade is mastery. Now, the mastery assignments average about 30 minutes long each. These average about 5 minutes to 10 minutes long to complete. So there's about 40 to 80 minutes of work here on this slide to complete all of the progress assignments. Now you don't need to complete all of the assignments to get a good grade in this class. You just need to complete the majority of the assignments. So the first group, the voice and choice assignments, are aimed at your writing ability, your speech ability, and your backpack defense that we're going to be doing at the end of this year with your self-defense project. Those take between 5 and 10 minutes to complete. All you're doing is creating 2 voice recordings for each of those assignments on the prompts on the slides. For the graded reading, number 1, 2, and 3, Zimbardo, Sachs, and Kudo, those are 5 to 10 minutes. All you need to do for those is make 3 comments on each reading. So you need to make 3 comments per reading and then submit, and that's those. That should not take a ton of time. And then for the graded humanizing language number 1, there are 4 texts that you're going to be responding to, and there are 22 questions, but you only need to answer 5 of those questions. Please choose 5 questions that you feel interested in answering, and if you don't have a preference, you can always just answer the first 5. That's all the graded work assignment. That's all the graded progress assignment work that we've done so far this semester. It may look like a lot to you. It feels light to me just because junior year, but we're trying to make things realistic in this year of COVID. That said, there are 4 other assignments. There are 4 extra credit assignments that do have a bit more rigor and challenge on top of those assignments. If you've completed everything else and you just want a little bit more ACT prep, but you want to also get credit in this class for it, I have 2 extra credit, the things they carried reading assignments, and 2 extra credit poetry assignments. The things they carried reading assignments are about an hour each, because you're listening to the audiobook version of the things they carried while you're answering ACT questions. Those questions are aligned to the ACT, and if you pause before the questions and answer them for practice while you're going through that assignment, that's a good way to get some practice for the ACT. For the poetry, very similar to the humanizing language, it's going to be 4 poems, and you're going to be looking for a type of figurative language, and you're going to be looking for a type of literary device. So you're practicing figurative language and literary devices with those poetry assignments. There'll be 2 more poetry assignments that I'll post before the ACT when we get back. but those are all optional. Those are just ACT prep that you can pursue if you have spare time or if you'd just like to get some credit in the class for doing some ACT prep. All right, at the end of this lesson, I'm going to allow for a lot of workspace for people to work with me on any assignment you need assistance with. We can be in breakout rooms or we can work together on the assignment. And really, this just means that you can seek assistance on assignments that you can't comfortably complete on your own. And that's what we'll do for the last part of the class. All right. Um, Upcoming things due this week: humanizing language number 1 with those 4 readings and those 22 questions. You only need to answer 5 of those questions. Pick and choose the ones that you're most interested in answering. For voice and choice number 5, that'll be due next Friday on the 26th. Your peer review form is due at the end of this week. You need to have a rough draft turned in to get credit for that because you can't have someone look at something that doesn't exist. And your final draft for essay number 3 will be due on the 26th next Friday. So this screen's kind of a good screen to be able to refer back to. This is all the assignments that have been due. Anything on the left is fair game to be updated in Infinite Campus as I grade them in Google Classroom. So if you haven't done anything on the left side of the screen, it's in your best interest to do those things first because they could go into Infinite Campus at any moment. If you haven't done stuff on the right side of the screen, that's cool, that's fine. They haven't passed us yet. There are still things that you could turn in on time. Thanks very much for listening to this presentation. I hope you have a good afternoon, and sorry I won't be able to make it in on Monday the 15th, but I'm going to be home taking care of my kids while my wife sleeps off her vaccination. I hope you guys have a good afternoon, and I hope this finds you well. Again, if you have any questions, if you're stuck on anything, you can always post a comment in Google Classroom, reach out to me through the Contact Me form on my Google Classroom, or reach out to my Google number at 856-502-4034. And that information is also at the top of the Living Syllabus, so you can find that information there as well. Thank you, and I hope you guys have a good one. Bye.